I think we were right about this one, and the more that people find success or achieve their goals, cross off the goals they set earlier in life, they start coming to the same conclusions that I've come to, that we're coming to about what actually makes a good life, what success actually is. So, welcome in, fam. Much love, Trav here. Hope you're doing awesome. Had the birth of three little baby piglets over the weekend and training these animals and making them friendlier and trying to give them a good life and give them good food and incorporate them into farm lifestyle as part of the family. Although this is for a different discussion, but yeah, they're going to be pork chops eventually, or some of them. But in the meantime, we want them to live good lives and be happy. Anyways, appreciate you and thank you for being here. And I want to share with you a little story that I have that illuminates a lot about the good life, the food life, what sort of lifestyle actually contributes the most to happiness, to contentedness. And so most of you know my story or the short version, and just to reiterate, I accomplished a lot of my high school goals early in my, I accomplished a lot of my teenage goals early in my 20s. I traveled the world competing internationally, professionally, Magic the Gathering. Well, went to a lot of places, had a lot of leisure time playing basketball and surfing abroad. I wrote books, I did a lot of content, I streamed for thousands of people playing Magic Online. I did a lot of things that sound cool to a 20-year-old. But I came to the conclusion over time that leisure and freedom are pretty overrated and not correlating that much to happiness. Having the freedom to commit and choose to work hard on something that you find meaningful, purpose, and then spending a lot of time working on that and seeing physical progress over time. And specifically, the sort of, I wouldn't even say necessarily a return to the food life or return to farming, but the sort of modern lifestyle where you can have extreme variety in your diet, extreme variety in your lifestyle and your work, and meaningful participation in creating a better climate, better environment, better political system, etc., is very rewarding. And that's been my conclusion. In short, is that it comes from meaningful work, happiness more than anything else. And I have a friend, Nick, who was a high school roommate, him and his now wife Devin, in Bainbridge Island outside of Seattle, started a farm, Artifarm, and I visit there every winter time and seeing their progress, and we have similar conclusions. So we have another friend, Luke. He's in my video, Pros and Cons of Living in San Francisco, which you can check out. But I had a conversation with Luke yesterday, and Luke's story, we were all roommates at the same time, around the time we were 20, 21. Luke worked in San Francisco as a consultant or accounting consultant for Deloitte, was making six figures, invested heavily in Bitcoin, saved heavily and aggressively, and made a fortune off Bitcoin. And even after the collapse, still way up from when he started. But that allowed him to take off and travel for a couple years, quit his job, travel down to the South Pole, through Central South America, go on a bunch of adventures, write a screenplay, write a book, and he's in the middle of this right now. He's down in Argentina, and he has another year left in his travels. But we talked on the phone, and he's like, you know what? Now that I've experienced this freedom from the corporate thing, and I've have this sort of freedom, I think that you and Nick are right, and that the sort of physical work, the food life, farm life, participating in the environment, animals, whatever you want to call it, I think that's probably the way to go. I'm interested in doing that, and I want to come out and spend a couple weeks and work and see what y'all are working on. So, yeah, I think that the more people actually achieve abundance, achieve success, achieve freedom to choose, the more they see that the lifestyle that I want is this lifestyle where it's not that I'm not working, it's that I'm actually getting off work to do more work to feed and train and work with these animals and do extra weeding and work outside, see the sunrise, see the sunset, eat a variety of foods, eat the fruits of our labors, plant fruit trees and see them grow for years before they fruit, participating in the long-term future, having some confidence, having some security in the long-term future is a good way to live, and it's something that not enough people talk about, although there's a trend towards it, a major trend starting to happen, and it has to do with people like me on YouTube and Instagram who have come to this conclusion, and it's something that's also very achievable because it's not that it exists outside of the capitalistic system, but you don't need a ton of money to live this sort of a lifestyle. You don't need as much for food, and you think, okay, Trav, well, I can't afford land, much less a house. Well, actually, and there's a lot of examples of this. There's an example of this in The Dirty Life, a book I just reviewed, but you can get vast acres of land for free right now. It's not that hard. I mean, it depends where you are, but there's a lot of landowners out there who are too old, or they're not stewarding it. They're not visiting as much as they should. They live in the city. Their sons and granddaughters don't want to tend for the land. They're looking for people to take it over, and that could be you. You step into that and say, I'm going to tend your land. I'm going to plant trees. I'm going to fix up the buildings. I'm going to drill a well. I'm going to bring in animals. I'm going to improve the soil. And that landowner say, hell yeah, do it you can do that for free. You don't need to pay. In fact, I could be paying you for that service. So in that situation, the climate is such that there's a lot of land up for grabs right now, and now's really, but not necessarily for too much longer, because people are starting to wake up and say, hey, I kind of want that. I'm kind of sick of sitting in traffic. I'm kind of sick about really stressing about the bills. I'm kind of sick about eating this mediocre food. I'm sick of having to go to the gym for an hour after work through traffic just to be in mediocre shape, despite that. And I'd rather watch the sunrise and the sunset and hear bird song instead of planes, and I'd rather see stars instead of noise pollution. I'd rather walk on grass rather than concrete. I'd rather work in something that makes me feel good than something that's pointless and is making me blind and giving me disease, right? So I'm championing this hard. A lot of my social media right now is I want to wake people up. I want to make farming look really cool and give people the tools, the confidence, and the ability, the stories to make it happen for themselves if they're so inclined, if you feel a drooling in your soul that this is the right thing to do. So I hope you find this helpful. I am working on and revising and refining the book, The Food Life, Returning to Our Roots, and that should be out. The target now is late February. It should be on Amazon start of March. So that's going to be good. And this year I'm going to have a lot more content on the lifestyle and be more specific about planting, irrigation, crops, animals, tending to animals, weather, seasons, this sort of a thing, that sort of content. Still plenty of generally self-improvement. So let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you, appreciate you, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say about this topic. So thank you, and talk to you soon.